If you've ever dreamed of surfing but thought it'd be way too difficult, I'm about to show you how standing up on your surfboard and riding your first wave is way easier than you think. In fact, it's actually the easiest part in learning how to surf as long as you follow the right process. What's up guys, my name is Alex Sapone. I was born and raised in the surf industry here in Florida and started surfing as soon as I could walk. Fast forward and I've been surfing for over 2 decades and teaching for just over 1 decade. After I hung the towel on competitive surfing, I got a job as a surf instructor at the biggest surf school in town. However, to my surprise, I quickly realized I was terrible at teaching beginners how to actually surf. And from what I learned from my students, so were most of the other surf instructors. People were paying me good money, but showing little to no progress. They were all leaving super frustrated and defeated, thinking they just weren't cut out for the sport of surfing. But I could tell almost all of them were fully capable of it, and it was just my fault they weren't learning. This shattered my identity of being an advanced surfer. I mean, how could I call myself an advanced surfer if I couldn't teach people to stand up on a board? That's literally the easiest step in the process. This made me obsessed with reclaiming my position as an advanced surfer, which I felt would come once I could figure out how to create a bulletproof process for first-time surfers to stand up and ride waves 100% of the time. So I quit my surf instructor job and spent the next 2 years creating my first Learn to Surf Secrets framework. I took what I was learning in my college psychology classes about how we learn as humans and merged it with my personal experience and network of high-level surfing friends to create a step-by-step process. I sampled this process on my friends and family, and I refined it until it all finally clicked. I then took this framework back to the surf school I was working at and put it to work. Quickly realized its value and used it to start my own surf school, which I have now been teaching for over 10 years. It has proven to work with hundreds of beginner surfers, from kids to grandparents and just about everybody in between, willing to put forth the effort. The First Time Surfer course is that exact process packed neatly into an online course for you to understand it all before going out and potentially hurting yourself or another surfer out in the ocean. I can't tell you how often I have heard surf lesson horror stories from my clients that have occurred all over the country and world. From this, I ultimately came to realize a majority of beginner lessons are so deeply neglected and misguided. Honestly, just like my first lessons were, even coming from an advanced surfer. Knowing how to properly teach these fundamentals in a way that works is no easy task. Now, I'm not trying to diss all beginner surfer instructors out there by any means whatsoever, but I will say a ton of these beginner surfer instructors I heard about had only been surfing for 3 to 5 years themselves. After looking deeper, I found that many of these instructors started teaching after only 2 years of surfing. Just because they know how to stand up on their own definitely does not mean they're qualified to teach it. Now, many of these rough surf lesson stories I've heard, and there have been tons, believe me, all seem to be missing the same thing, the fundamentals, which is what we focus on most at my surf school. If you start your surf journey and skip out on the fundamentals in the early stages, it will cause you to plateau later on in the journey, and you will still have to go back and learn these things in order to progress further. So save time and learn them now, trust me. Okay, so most of my friends I have tried to convince to learn after I created this framework all say something like, oh, I'm not good enough shape to surf, or I have no experience on a board. But what I've experienced from teaching hundreds of first-time surfers, in reality, you do not actually have to be in impeccable shape to do this. You don't even need experience in board sports or great balance. The process in this course will actually train your body to naturally get stronger from consistently practicing these steps to paddling and standing up. So ultimately, if you practice long enough on land, then you will likely gain the strength and mobility to stand up on a wave and surf. But I would be wrong to not mention that the ocean can be dangerous and is very, very powerful. We tell all of our students that they are scared of the ocean because they are smart. The ocean is to be respected and understood before you enter it. That's why I've built safety into the foundation of every step of this course. In this course, you will learn how to safely enter and exit the ocean with a surfboard, how to properly handle your board, and how to avoid mistakes in the waves that could get you roughed up or held under. These are so crucial for your safety to learn before you try surfing. After knowing this, you'll be much more likely to avoid injuries, such as getting smacked in the face by your board when you finally decide to try. Okay. I'm finally going to give you the secrets to the process so you can decide if you're going to learn these fundamentals before trying to surf or not. After you hear these, you will understand what you need to do so you can finally learn what you've always dreamed of, how to surf. First Time Surfer course shakes out to be 8 modules that will kickstart your surfing journey, and they go like this. Module 1, Surfboard Anatomy, aka Ground Zero. This lesson goes over board design, all the parts and pieces of the surfboard and how they work and how we use them. When you start your journey with a deeper understanding of the surfboard, everything else you learn from there will just make a lot more sense. Module 2, Board Positioning. Once you know how the board works and all the parts and pieces, it's time to understand how it acts and reacts in the ocean. We teach 3 positions your board will be in while surfing: offense, defense, and hazardous. This session will teach you how to enter and exit the ocean safely, as well as how to be fully in control of your board while out surfing. Module 3, how to climb on your board. Believe it or not, this can be difficult and discouraging at first. Oftentimes, students will jump on their board and immediately fall off if they don't know how to climb on properly. We teach 2 simple ways to climb on your board, and this, in fact, will save you time and embarrassment when you first try to surf. Module 4, the 6 steps to surfing success, the bread and butter of this course. A bulletproof process to stand up on your surfboard in the perfect position every time. The exact framework that I launched my surf school with and have successfully used for over 10 years on hundreds of first-time surfers. After practicing these 6 steps on land enough times, it will become muscle memory and you will no longer have to think when standing up. It'll just happen, which will actually allow you to turn your attention to paddling and what the wave is doing instead. Module 5, how to turn your board. Once you know how to stand up consistently, you need to learn how to turn your board left and right to avoid falling. This is when it turns into actually riding waves as opposed to falling over as soon as you stand up. In this session, you will learn the 2-step secret to turn your board. Just 2 simple steps to move your body and shift your weight, and you'll be turning your board to avoid wiping out. When you see how simple this is, I really think it will boost your confidence. Module 6, the session size up. This portion of the course is very important for your safety. This is where you will learn to observe the ocean in a way that you'll know where you need to paddle out in order to actually catch waves, stay out of other surfers' way, and avoid injury. Module 7, how to catch whitewater waves. This portion of the course is where new surfers get their first taste of freedom in the ocean. You will be very proud when you can finally paddle out and successfully catch waves on your own. It will allow you to practice your pop-up and turning techniques without needing an instructor. And last but not least, Module 8, how to wipe out. The last module in this journey will teach you the right ways to dismount off your board to avoid getting hit or injured by your board. Learning to fall the right way in different scenarios will help keep you feeling confident and allow you to charge the waves with less hesitation. Falling is unfortunately a huge part of surfing. The majority of waves actually end by falling off your board as opposed to safely pulling out while you're still standing. So it would make sense that learning how to fall ahead of time would be a smart thing to do, right? In addition to these invaluable fundamental modules, we have thrown in a bunch of bonuses to enrich and expedite your surf progression. I do this because my job is to make sure you actually learn how to surf. So, when you buy the First Time Surfer course, you will also receive these free bonuses. Bonus 1, the Beginner's Board Guide. This will teach you what a quiver is and what type of board you need in each phase of your surfing. This is an actionable guideline to keep you on track with the correct equipment, which will enable you to rapidly progress and set realistic goals along the way. Bonus 2, the Beginner Surfing Etiquette ebook. This is so important. You will learn the basics of how you need to behave out in the water in order to not piss off any other surfers. Every lineup has strict rules and they are completely unavoidable. This book tells you ahead of time so you don't learn the hard way like most beginners do. And I promise you this, the sooner you learn these, the faster you'll be accepted in the lineup. Bonus 3, the Session Size Up Checklist. This is a cheat sheet for you to save on your phone for when you go to surf. You will reference this checklist every time you surf before paddling out in order to create a game plan for your surf session. Eventually, you won't need this checklist because you'll do it subconsciously, but until then, it'll come in clutch. Bonus 4, the pop-up practice blueprints. These blueprints are ways to simulate a surfboard at home in order for you to practice enough times that your pop-up becomes second nature. If you follow this homework enough times, it will happen. And last but not least, bonus 5, a spot in the Learn to Surf Secrets Club. This is a community for all first-time surfers to share experiences and learn from one another, as well as to gain access to exclusive mini courses, web classes, destination retreats, live Q&As, interviews, and more. All of this to get you confidently started on your surfing journey for only $97. So for literally less than $100, you will have access to all the fundamental information to start a lifelong hobby, a hobby that will make you both physically and mentally stronger. This course is so cheap because I want and need more first-time surfers knowing this information. It'll actually make the lineup a safer place with a lot less conflict, which, if you aren't aware by now, most advanced surfers don't want beginner surfers anywhere near them for fear of getting hurt. I actually made this course to benefit both sides of our surf community. Well, it's officially time for you to take the leap of faith and finally learn how to surf with the First Time Surfer course. Yee-hoo!